Greetings, everybody. How are you? Jason Zaleski here. Zaleski Sports Show is going on now live from downtown Stevens Point. We're on Main Street here in Stevens Point. If you're on your way down, come on and see us. I'll have you stand right here next to me. Come on the show. Let's have a good time. Got to turn some volumes off around here. Getting some wicked, crazy feedback. Live from downtown Stevens Point. It's Tuesday, December 20th. Again, my name's Jason Zaleski. Today's Zaleski Sports Show. Got a lot of good stuff for you today. We'll talk about our broadcast schedule. Give you a couple of highlights from games we had last night, both live, and we had Garrett over in Abbotsford, so we'll show you some highlights coming up on the show today. Remind you on our 3 to see, voting closes in, about an hour and a half, so you'll want to get out and vote on our weekly fan voting, so we'll talk to you about that coming up during today's show. We're going to talk about the shot clock, or in Wisconsin, no shot clock in high school basketball, but I'm going to give you my best case for the shot clock in high school basketball here in the state of Wisconsin on today's show. Plus, we have special guest Dave Donarski, Aquinas Blue Gold's girls basketball coach. Aquinas, #1 team in Division 4. And we'll have Dave Donarski, head coach of that Aquinas Blue Gold's squad, on the show a little bit later. Feel free, again, 2 things that I need on the comments. 1, corrections, and 2, give me some creative content for upcoming shows. Tell me what you want to hear. What do you want to talk about? I think that's what's probably most important on this show is that, we get comments everywhere that we go. I'm going to be at Newman High School in Wausau later tonight, and people will come up and, hey, it'd be good if you talk about this. I had a guy come up to me at the YMCA recently. You should talk about referees and officials in high school high school sports in Wisconsin. I could talk about that. It'd be better to have somebody on here. So if you know a high school official who'd like to come on and just kind of give their State of the Union, I'd be happy to do that. So those are the 2 things I'm looking for. First is corrections, and 2 is creative content. What do you want to hear from me? Because some of the stuff, I get comments from people all the time coming up to me. Hey, it'd be good if you talk about this or that. Some of it's just plain crazy. So we're not going to talk about a lot of the stuff that people come up and ask me about. But there's other things. I think that's what I want to hear from you today. So I've got the chat box open on Facebook here, the chat box open on YouTube over here. You can always get a hold of us at ZaleskiSports.com. You can leave a comment there, or any of our social media pages on Facebook. There are 8 of them, Instagram and Twitter. So get a hold of us at any of those places. And let us know how we can do better. I know that that's something people aren't really afraid to say, especially when you're a keyboard warrior, right? You get out there and type anything in there. Yeah, that's fine. I can take it. I'm okay with all of that. All right, so let's have a good time today. Let's start with tonight's schedule. I'm going to mention this a couple times during the show because, one, the schedule is large. 10 games live tonight on Zaleski Sports. And there's some interesting matchups. So let's go over it right now. It all starts at 7 o'clock tonight. That's in 5 hours. Mike Wendlandt is going to bring you hockey from the Expo Center in Wapaka. Pacelli Co-op and Wapaka Comets. 7 o'clock hockey. The puck drops tonight. Columbus Catholic girls played last night. They play again tonight at Greenwood. That's at 7:15. Marathon at Newman. That's where I will be alongside Dan Ross. Marathon Newman. Our Merriwood boys basketball game of the week is tonight in Wausau. Tip is at 7:15. Couple headliners there. Grant Warren, Isaac Seidel, and others. Going to put on a good show, we think, tonight up in Wausau. Marathon undefeated. I'm not going to get too much into it. We're going to do some full-on recaps as Jeff and Andy check in. I'll do some kind of game previews later, but that's a big one. Marathon at Newman. Tip is at 7:15. Boys basketball, and the other big one on the schedule tonight is DC Everest at Spash. That's our Wisconsin Valley Conference boys basketball game of the week. Chris Conley will narrate that game for you. He's the Morgan Freeman of Zaleski Sports, and we love him most so much. Chris Conley on the call. 7:15 tip. Everest at Spash boys basketball. Auburndale at Assumption boys basketball. All the basketball tips. Oh, nope, they're not. Auburndale at Assumption boys basketball, 7:15. Crandon at Stratford, non-conference girls basketball, 7:15. Wausau East at Marshfield. That's Wisconsin Valley Conference girls basketball, 7:15. And now all the rest, the final three are at 7:30. Iola Scandinavia at Pacelli. That is Central Wisconsin Conference girls basketball, tip 7:30. Pacelli at Shiocton boys basketball, 7:30 tip. And then Markesan at Amherst girls basketball, 7:30. 10 games live tonight on Zaleski Sports. So you'll watch on your TV. It'll look just like that one, and that one does later tonight. Again, it all starts at 7 o'clock with hockey. 6 basketball games at 7:15, another 3 at 7:30. Gang, it's cold outside, so if you're at home, you're not able to make it down to the gym, bundle up and put a blanket on and settle in. You get to watch 10 games, 10 high school games live and free tonight. There we go. We had 3 on the network last night, and so we'll show you some highlights here. The first one, we thought this was, and it was, an interesting non-conference matchup. Abbotsford and Pittsville girls basketball. Garrett went over to Abbotsford last night to collect these highlights. I'll tell you what, let me just play the highlights, and then we'll talk about this game in just a little bit. We're not going to go too deep into it, but let me show you some highlights as Dave checks in. Looking for some bowler action. Dave, bring bowler a little closer this way, and we'll hook you up. So Abbotsford and Pittsville girls basketball from last night. Pittsville and Abbotsford non-conference girls basketball Tuesday night. The Falcons and junior Summer Broadhagen break the ice. Brasida Escalera starts the action, bounce pass to Brissa Diaz, and the finish. Not very often a missed free throw makes the highlight. After Sydney Faltasek falters from the line, gets the ball, pass in the lane to Escalera. Abbey leads 16-7 midway through the first. Pittsville would battle back late in the first half. Emma Bowden left alone outside the arc. Timber! Haley's the whistling, chopping trees and counting by 3. Abbotsford cut the lead to 4 before halftime. Under 13 to play, Brooke Grossman steal, and the Panthers within striking distance. Faltasek, the dish to Kelly Roosh, rips the net. Next trip down, Broadhagen to Faltasek, and the Falcons would do enough to pull away in the second half, take down Pittsville 52-36. Abbotsford moves to 6-2. Pittsville falls to 5-2.
Probably in the last week or so, we had several practices where we worked on new finishes, like putting in a floater or a finger roll or different things like that. So we saw that a couple times tonight. I think that was helpful for the girls to have these new finishes, and they felt a little bit more comfortable taking it to the hoop.
So we had a big game, 24 points. What was kind of the focus going into this game?
Us girls have really been focusing on pushing the floor, and so as coach, so that's what we do in practice, so that really worked for us. Going forward, we do have some tough games. We have Spencer over Christmas break, so that should be a tough game too for us. But I think us girls have really been working together this year, so that's good.
All right, there we go. There was Sydney Faltasek, our Zaleski Sports Highlight House player of the game from last night over in Abbotsford. You can watch any of these clips I'm showing you. You watch the full version on Facebook at any of our 7 Zaleski Sports Facebook channels. That particular highlight on Zaleski Sports Facebook North and Facebook West. Get a little directional going for you there. Yeah, a close game up until, what was it, about 12 minutes left or so in the game. Abbotsford able to pull away. Pittsville having a nice season out of the Central Wisconsin South, so we'll have Pittsville girls basketball on the network like these games here a couple times this year. Abbotsford may be a little bit more difficult for us. They play just kind of out of our coverage area a little bit, right? Phillips and Shawamigan and those schools up there. We're just not going that far away. That's just too far. But good luck to Abbotsford the rest of the way. I don't know if we'll see the Abbotsford girls again on the network this year, but a good win for Abbotsford. And I think what Pittsville maybe found out, Coach Travis Shoup and the girls got a couple things to work on. Let's see here. A couple. All right, Dave, keep filling me up with the bowler matches. I like it. And then, of course, we got spam on there, right? Live streaming, whatever. Yeah, we had the. Let's take a moment here. I've talked about our live games. There's a lot of spam out there, a lot of counterfeiters, a lot of no-gooders that are out there. If all of our games are always free, okay? So we're never asking you to use a credit card ever. We'll ask you to use a credit card to watch our games online. And it's always going to be a clear link to a YouTube channel. If it's so, like this one here is www.sportslight17. Okay, our games are gonna have ZaleskiSports.com, or it's gonna say youtube.com/ and then you know you're in good hands. I get a chuckle out of these though, because they try real hard. That must mean it must be working. So be careful out there, gang. A lot of people don't wish you as well as we do around here. So just be careful of that. Let's see here. We've been showing Columbus and Gilman from last night. That was a game that was made up. This is a make-up game, a game that's been rescheduled. It was played last night. Columbus and Gilman. I think an interesting game. You know, in the Clover Belt East girls basketball, it's Neillsville. And then it's who's going to finish in second place. That's where all the mystery is. Columbus under 500 coming into the game last night. So we'll show you highlights of that game. This was Joe Anderson on the call. Columbus and Gilman girls basketball.
Inbound to Zimmerman. Zimmerman can pop that long two. Swish. Play catch back and forth, and a nice go to the basket for Sam Casperson, and it's 4-0 Columbus. 3 for Kibble. Jenna Kibble with 3. Misses a shot, put back out by Zimmerman, kicks it out. 3, good for Maggie Callahan. They swing it around. Another 3 is good for Maggie Callahan. 6 points for Maggie. Swing it over to Zimmerman for 3, and baseline, boom. Zimmerman, the threes are raining down here for the Dons. Daringer, nice give and go. Over to Torbe. Mira Torbe. 4-2. Cut off. Back to Wilczek. Zimmerman, 3. Second 3 of the first half for Haley Zimmerman. Zimmerman for 3. Front. Ew, she got the roll. It was short, but she got the roll. 13 points for Haley Zimmerman. Wilczek over to Kibble. Well done. Kicks it out. Callahan for 3. Splash. Maggie Callahan with her third 3 of the game. Kibble for 3. Top of the circle. Yes! Jenna Kibble. And that's going to do it. The Columbus Dons secure second place all of themselves here with the 65-47 win over the Gilman Pirates.
All right, so Columbus moves to 5-5 overall. You heard Joe Anderson tell you Columbus takes second place all by themselves. The Dons are 4-1, coached by Ron Wilczek. 4-1 in conference. Neillsville 6-0, and I said before I showed you that highlight, I don't know anybody except for maybe somebody's mom or dad that plays for one of these other teams would tell you that Neillsville is going to run away with this conference. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So the suspense is second place girls Clover Belt East, and right now Columbus up in front by a game over Loyal. Loyal 3-2. Gilman falls to 3-3 in conference. Spencer's 2-2. Greenwood, Owen Withy, Colby each with one win apiece, and Granton no longer participating in girls varsity basketball. They're still on some standings that you find here and there. Not at ZaleskiSports.com though, but at other places. So Columbus moves to 5-5. A nice win for the Dons last night at home over the Gilman Pirates. I mentioned the Loyal Greyhounds. They had a non-conference game last night as they visited Merriwood South Assumption. Assumption coming in perfect on the year, have not lost a game. And so people tuned in last night at Zaleski Sports to find out if Loyal could deal the Assumption Royals its first loss in 2022.
Quickly up ahead to Kendall Dillman. Vollert goes baseline. Nobody stopped her, and Addie's in the scorebook for 2, and it's 2-0 Assumption. Conference play. Kristen Casey for 3. Cross to Kola, over to Dillman. Kendall lines up a 3. Her first point. I think they're starting about 3 minutes. Jordan Jaglinski puts it in the bottom of the net. Her first points of the night. Royals lead 20-8. Kendall Dillman for 3. Kenny's got 3 more. She's up to 6. And Kendall puts it in for 2 and 1. Pull-up jumper baseline may have been partially blocked. Rebounded by Kola. Strong take by Malia. And then the wild one in Las Vegas yesterday. Wow, what a pass by Dillman. What a finish by Shaw. That is girls basketball. Marathon is at Newman. That's boys basketball. As Jordan Jaglinski hits another one. Download of Morgan Reichel. Yes, ma'am. Morgan Reichel in the scorebook for the senior. And Leah Colo having herself a night here tonight. Up to 11 from Leah. Double digits. Double figures for Colo. And that will do it. Assumption dominating from the word go. 66-21 over the Loyal Greyhounds here tonight. Royals improved to 8-0.
So the Assumption Royals finish out 2022 girls basketball undefeated, which is to say they do not play another game on this calendar year. So they'll head into the new year an undefeated and unblemished team out of the Merriwood South. Yeah, good job, Ryan Klein and his girls there in Wisconsin Rapids, going through an interesting first part of the year schedule. I think some of those tests are going to come later, although they did beat Edgar. And we'll have Edgar girls basketball coach Tom McCarty on tomorrow's show. By the way, coming up in this show, later on here, we will have Aquinas Blue Gold's girls basketball coach Dave Donarski checking in with us. He's got the #1 ranked team in Division 4. But for these Royals, they show as #1 in our Zaleski Sports poll. The coaches poll don't quite have them #1 as we take a look. You got Jason and Stephanie checking in on Facebook. We have Tanner checking in on YouTube. Just appreciate everybody watching the show today. Again, this is our weekly, our weekday show at 2 o'clock, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. You're watching Zaleski Sports Show live from downtown Stevens Point. My name's Jason. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so the Royals doing a nice job here on the, still young season. That win put them at 8-0, I think is what that was, 8 or 9, something like that. Again, I ask you all for 2 things back at home. 1, corrections, and 2, give us some creative content for later. Tell us what you want to hear and talk about. Maybe we'll even have you stand here next to me, and you can come on and join me on a future show. I'm going to have an in-studio guest tomorrow, as a matter of fact. It's a secret. I won't tell you who. Not yet, anyway. Yeah, so, okay, basketball scores. We'll tell you some other girls' basketball scores. Now, when I go to find girls' basketball scores in this area, ZaleskiSports.com. We've got the standings and the team pages all up there. When I go to look for scores outside of our coverage area, I head over to WisSports.net. That's where I'm looking right now. And I see Ironwood, Michigan beat Mercer 48-24, all scores from Monday night, last night. Stockbridge over St. Thomas Aquinas 36-19. Necedah over Port Edwards 36-22. Bowler 35. Elko 28. South Shore 77. Winter 33. Winter, Wisconsin. And winter is here. Today, December 20th. Tomorrow, the 21st, is the shortest day of the year. And then we start to turn it around the other way. We don't do weather here on this show, and I never will, but I'm being told it's going to be very cold coming up. So head to Winter, Wisconsin, and get really cold, apparently. Interesting score here. I kind of picked this one out of the group from last night. Almond Bancroft, 47. Adams Friendship, 46. Now, Almond is in our Zaleski Sports poll. I think they came in at 8. I'm going to show those polls later on here in the show. 8 or 7, something like that. They're undefeated. So now I think they're 9-0 is Almond Bancroft. Girls basketball out of the CWC South. I guess they're the favorites to win the conference now, right? They beat Adams Friendship, 1-point win. We couldn't find any video of it. No stats were sent in. We get kept in the dark sometimes around the area. Could have been a buzzer beater. Could have been a play of the year. At the Allman Bancroft Eagles, if you don't share it with us, I can't share it with all these people. Choose wisely, right? Your choices matter. Allman Division 5 beat Adams Friendship Division 3. Now, maybe the Green Devils are no good. All right, Adams Friendship, maybe they're the worst of the worst. I wouldn't have any idea because, again, Green Devils don't share any of their highs and lows with us. But good win for Allman. I mean, anytime a Division 5 team can beat a Division 3 team in boys or girls basketball, in this case girls, it's a big win. And for Allman to stay undefeated now on the season, again, I think they go to 9-0 now. Really nice win there for the Eagles. Coach Denfield, right? Denfield. Again, wouldn't know. Doesn't send us any stats. Wild Rose 72, Fall River 35. Columbus, we saw highlights of that game earlier. You're seeing the live replay here behind me. 65-47 over Gilman. Gresham Community, Dave. Gresham over Wasaki, 47-32. We saw highlights, Assumption beating Loyal, 66-21. Athens all over Northland Lutheran, 93-34. The Blue Jays, after tripping up last week against Phillips, getting right quickly. And we'll see. They're going to play Phillips again. They also play Assumption later in the year. I'm on the Blue Jays bandwagon, if people don't already know that. I'm on the Blue Jays bandwagon. I know the Loggers got you. Loggers, tripped us up. Us Blue Jays, we got a little ahead of ourselves when we played Phillips last week, but payback's coming, I think, against the Loggers and against everybody. Abbotsford 52, Pittsville 36. We saw those highlights. And then Newman falls at home to Rosholt. So the Rosholt Hornets get a good win, 40-35. Nice job to Rosholt Hornets. Girls sports volleyball team had a nice season. Now they're transitioning into basketball, and they beat Newman last night 40-35. We'll tell you about some boys basketball scores. Just going to take a quick break and be back for more Zaleski Sports Show right after this.
You know better when you see it.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
But sometimes it's a little harder to tell what better looks like, and you could use a little help.
Thanks, Mom.
Security Health Plan. Everything you need in a health plan. Everything you'd expect from a good neighbor.
Mid-State Technical College. You belong here. Start your classes and get your degree right here, or transfer to your 4-year.
Mid-State Technical College. You belong here. In person at 4 convenient campuses, online or a hybrid.
Mid-State Technical College. You belong here for your Career Accelerator Certificate, a quick way to get ahead in your career.
Mid-State Technical College. You belong here. Register to start this fall.
Get started at mstc.edu.
Mid-State Technical College. You belong here.
All right, gang, welcome back. Zaleski Sports Show. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski, here live downtown Stevens Point, right on Main Street. And take a look at a nice lady walking down the sidewalk there. Got a pretty good view down here in Stevens Point. She had no idea I was in here, did she? Yeah. Got the snowplow coming to take care of some additional snow again. What we're being told is that Thursday events are in some jeopardy right now due to cold and snow coming. We'll find out, but just stay tuned here, stay locked in. We'll be live again tomorrow. Again, every day, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., live here from downtown Stevens Point at the new worldwide headquarters of Zaleski Sports. So we'll talk tomorrow about the weather for Thursday. We hardly know what the weather's going to be like tonight, other than cold. And I don't even begin to prognosticate on the weather beyond the next hour, because I have no idea. I don't even know how it works. Weather shows up. That's my understanding of the whole thing. All right, went through girls basketball scores from the area last night. We had one boys basketball game last night. That was Amherst and Lodi, so I'll tell you about that score. Well, let's just tell you now. Lodi over Amherst, in Amherst, 45-35. So the Falcons drop a non-conference game last night on Monday night. It was a boys-girls doubleheader over in Ironwood, Michigan. Again, Ironwood girls won 48-24 over Mercer, and the Ironwood boys take care of Mercer 72-28. So lopsided one there. Bonduelle 71, Marinette 50. Stockbridge 61, St. Thomas Aquinas 43. Was that a doubleheader as well? It was. Another girls-boys doubleheader from last night with Stockbridge winning, getting both of those games. Osceola 72, Chicago Lake 65. Winona Cotter 78, and Cooley Christian Providence 24. Over at Cotter High School in Winona, Minnesota last night. Superior 86, Ashland, the Ordockers fall 86-39. One of the good names, though, one of the good mascot names in Wisconsin, the Ordockers. As I take a look, Mark's watching. Hey, Mark, good to have you on here. Hurley 68, Bayfield 59, Mellon 77, Butternut 20. A couple of the smaller schools in the entire state of Wisconsin still carrying varsity boys basketball. Good job for being able to do that. Good job to those kids for deciding they want to continue having a varsity basketball program. I think that's probably where most of the thanks should go, and the parents. Drummond 60, I never can say that name right. Lockhart Aurealis 40. I could be way off on that. I've tried, I don't know, for years to say that. Never able to get it right. Northland Lutheran 71, Rosholt 63, Solon Springs 92, South Shore 36, Tigerton 72, Gresham 9. 72-9 in a boys varsity basketball game. Norway, Michigan 58, Niagara 52, Mosinee Indian over Crandon 68-53. Wisconsin Valley Lutheran 44, Tri-County 39, wraps up boys basketball scores from, call it the northern third to half of the state. People in our area. Assumption boys basketball coach Josh Paltz checking in. I mentioned earlier that it is Auburndale at Assumption tonight. Auburndale coming in strong. Assumption, I think, still trying to figure it out yet this year. Which could be a good recipe for a win for Auburndale tonight. We'll see. You should see. If you're in the Wisconsin Rapids area, head on down to Assumption High School, find out for yourself, or you can watch, just like we're doing here, all the games tonight, including Auburndale at Assumption. So we shall see on that one. Okay, I mentioned, to make sure I'm staying on track here with everything. I mentioned the boys' basketball games kind of take you maybe a little bit more we'll take a closer look at a couple of the games tonight as I'm getting some of my stats in order. We're looking at DC Everest and Spash. That's our Wisconsin Valley Conference game of the week tonight with Chris Conley on the call. It'll be Chris Conley and Sydney Seavey headed over to Stevens Point Area Senior High School to watch John Kroll's Spash Panthers and Oliver Drake's DC Everest Evergreen first-year coach, Oliver Drake, by the way. I'm taking a look at Spash right now. They come in at 2-3. They've got one win in conference. They beat Wausau West 57 to hold on here. Yeah, I had to do a double check there. 57-29. Okay. Moving on, so DC Everest tonight, interesting game. Grant Shannon averaging just about 17 points per game. Ariel Council Jr. just under 12 points per game. Scoring leaders for Coach Kroll coming into this one. For Spash, it'd be a big win. DC Everest and Marshfield kind of thought of as a two-horse race in Wisconsin Valley Conference boys basketball. So for Spash to get one, even though it is at home, and even though DC Everest lost on Friday night, you would suspect DC Everest coming in, you're probably thinking, I'm going to turn the game on, and we're going to see a win tonight as we're at halftime here in this game. We'll just skip past that. Nobody wants to watch me at the same time. So you would figure you're watching the game tonight. You probably are assuming Everest is going to beat Stevens Point tonight, but that's why we play the games. That's why we watch the games. And that's why it's our Wisconsin Valley Conference boys game of the week. I think it's going to be closer than what you think it is. And I think Stevens Point has a chance in this one tonight. Again, they're playing at home. And DC Everest, we get to find out a little bit more about coming off of a conference loss. DC Everest lost to Oshkosh North a few weeks ago. This was right after Thanksgiving, right? Was it the Saturday after, I think? Some of those early season games, who knows? And Oshkosh North at the time, I think, was ranked 4. They've slipped a bit. But what's interesting to watch that game tonight will be to see how DC Everest is able to come off of a conference loss. They lost somewhat of a heartbreaker, 63-60 to Marshfield on Friday night at home in front of the Forest. And that's a tough one. As Tammy checks in. Hey, Tammy. I haven't checked YouTube in a while. Yep, still Tanner and others out there checking things out. You give credit where it's due on that one. On Friday night, Marshfield with a good win, come from behind win for the Marshfield Tigers. So Everest drops one that they thought they had kind of right here. They thought they were going to hold on to it and take it home and have a nice weekend win to snuggle up with all weekend long at home. And that didn't happen. And so we'll see what Coach Oliver Drake and his guys have been thinking about doing in practice since that loss last week. Of course, they come in with my favorite for Mr. Basketball in the state of Wisconsin, Marcus Hall. I think he's a lot of people's favorites, quite honestly. But we'll see. I talked about that yesterday. We're not here to talk about Marcus Hall today. That will come up later in the season as he starts to inch towards winning Mr. Basketball in 2023. But Hall comes in averaging 28 points per game. Cohen Preby, 14 points per game. Hall leads in the 3 major statistical categories for the Evergreens: scoring, rebounding, and assists. He really does it all, and he's an excellent defender. Now, he was held at check. Actually, he was held at just about half of his season average last week. The Marshfield Tigers defense and the Marcus for Marshfield, Neve, helped to hold Hall to a low output on Friday night. I don't know that Stevens Point has that lockdown defender like the Tigers did on Friday. But that's the intrigue for me in this one. Now, what does Everest have to say about losing at home on Friday night? And then Stevens Point coming in, not a lot of people talking about the Panthers. Maybe they're flying under the radar just a bit, and maybe they can trim the Evergreens tonight. We'll find out. Game live at 7:15 again with Chris Conley on the call. Move to our other marquee boys game on the network tonight as I begin to pull up those stats. And this is Marathon at Newman. This is our Merriwood South game of the week. Again, get over to Newman Catholic High School in Wausau. A really fun place to watch a basketball game. It's the gym, the bleachers are kind of right there, especially on the non-bench side. That's where I would sit. That's where I will be sitting tonight. That's where I would sit if I were you. You get to kind of be right in on the action, and then it's an intriguing game there as well. A lot of storylines that myself and Dan Ross, helping me out on the call tonight, will be following. Dan, a big fan of Grant Warren for Marathon. Grant Warren comes in averaging 23.5 points per game, grabs 13 rebounds a game, and is just a joy to watch. I think 6'9", Grant Warren, so he plays above the rim, again, plays good defense, able to get after the boards, able to score the basketball. He's a real handful for anybody that comes his way, and a big reason why Coach Adam Jacobson's Marathon Red Raiders are 6-0 this season. But on the road, a road test for the Red Raiders tonight as they take on the 6-1 overall Newman Catholic Cardinals. This is the 6th conference game for both teams as well, so not a whole lot of non-conference action for either of those teams yet this year. But for Newman, the storyline is not what's on the floor, but what's on the bench, and some key injuries, including Conference Player of the Year candidate, preseason favorite for Player of the Year, Mason Prey. He's got a bum knee out there, and we'll see. First off, I talked to Mason on Friday night, just ever so briefly, and I said, hey, don't come back too soon because I want to see you on the basketball floor all season, right? So make that make sense. But the idea there is sometimes you don't want to rush back from an injury, and who am I to give anybody advice, right? But my advice was given more to say, I want to see you have a lot of success this year. So hopefully if you can manage, get fully healthy and then come back, that would be great because I want to see Mason play maximum games all year long. So question whether Mason and his 25 points per game will be able to play tonight. He didn't play on Friday night And Auburndale with, what was it, a 9, 10, 11-point win at home against Newman last week. But Isaac Seidel still there, 17 points per game. Connor Kroc, 11 points per game. Eli Gustafson grabs 10 rebounds per game. And both Seidel and Kroc dish the ball almost as well as they score it. So really talented Newman basketball team, especially offensively. And maybe Cardinals fans are out there, whoa, we got a good defense too. Yeah, maybe you do. But you score a lot of points, and that's one of the reasons I show up at your games, because I like a lot of points being scored. Again, I'm going to talk about shot clock here on the show. We're also going to hear from Aquinas Blue Gold's girls basketball coach, Dave Donarski, coming up soon. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Newman and Marathon. I think it's a really good game, and it's worth your time to get over to Wausau to watch. Again, Newman Catholic High School is the place. 7:15, the 6-0 undefeated Marathon Red Raiders and the 6-1 Newman Catholic Fighting Cardinals. I've been told those Cardinals are fighting over there. So we'll go with it, the Fighting Cardinals. But a really good game, Merriwood South game, conference championship implications, and the whole works. Again, it's myself and Dan Ross on the call tonight. Okay, let's just take a break, and we'll come back, talk basketball poll, and we'll visit with Aquinas Blue Gold's girls basketball coach, Dave Donarski, right after this on the Zaleski Sports Show.
At Express Employment Professionals, we place people from all walks of life in all kinds of jobs.
Hi, welcome to Express. Please sign in and have a seat.
Great, thanks. Great, thanks. Great, thanks. Great, thanks.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Rich, creamy, and fun. Point Craft Soda. Caffeine-free, made with 100% real sugar. From Stevens Point Brewery.
All right, there we go. We released these live yesterday. We'll briefly touch on these again today. Again, VIP readers get to see these polls as often as they want, and a lot of other stuff at ZaleskiSports.com. Again, it's just $5 a month. And the reason this all happened is because of you. You all came up to us over the last few years and said, listen, I don't own a business, I can't afford or don't have a reason to spend money on advertising, but I'd like to help somehow. There were some that came by and they stuffed money into the pockets of our staff. So what we came up with was $5 a month. And we'll let you be a Zaleski Sports VIP, and you get to see inside information, get all access stuff like polls, playoff seed previews, other exclusive behind the scenes stuff. It's just $5 a month. Even if you never read any of it, it's $5 a month, and we think it's a pretty good cause. You asked for it, so I think that's where we come up with this. Girls basketball poll is right there on the screen. This is a poll of Zaleski Sports people and people that are friends of the show. They all get together and vote. This is part opinion, it's part fact, and it's mostly entertainment. We just lump everybody in together. We don't care about anybody's division. And the way I think of this is I bring up the boys' version of the poll is if you've got a question mark, like tonight, we've got 10 games live tonight. If you've got a question mark about, I wonder which game I should watch or which game I should go to, we think this is your guide. We're going to show you 20 of the best teams in our coverage area. And if you just need a quick head start, just a cheat code on which games to watch and what teams to follow, there's 20 of them right there. And you get to follow along with us on ZaleskiSports.com for $5 a month. And that's worth it, right? The cheat code is worth $5 a month, plus all the other stuff you get with it, including the playoff seed preview. We're pretty sure we've cracked the code. The WI now uses computerized seating to select certain sports, playoff positions, and playoff matchups. And we give those to our VIP readers a couple weeks ahead of time, and they get to start planning ahead of time. And it's a curious thing, right? Who's going to get seated where? Well, we happen to know, and so we let our VIP readers know ahead of time. As a matter of fact, I think in about a month's time, we're going to start giving those seed previews on a weekly basis, just like we do this poll. So best time to become a Zaleski Sports VIP for $5 a month is right now. You're so close. You're already on your device. Just head on over to ZaleskiSports.com. You're going to go there tonight to find out the listing of the 10 games. So tonight's a good night to do it too. Okay, let's see here. Dave Donarski. Yeah, let's see what Dave and I talked earlier this morning. Again, Dave has got the #1 ranked girls basketball team in Division 4. Girls basketball, the Aquinas Blue Golds. Here's my talk with Aquinas Blue Golds girls basketball coach Dave Donarski. Visiting with Aquinas Blue Golds girls basketball coach Dave Donarski. Coach, before we get started, just remind us how many years you've been steering the ship there for the Blue Golds.
Yeah, so the girls, this will be my 9th year at Aquinas, but I was 10 with the boys prior to that. So going on 19 years with Aquinas High School.
Coach, you got the #1 team in all the land, according to the coaches. You got a 20-point per game score. You got 3 that score in double digits. You're averaging over 70 points per game. You're at the peak, right? You got everything figured out. Tell me why that's not an accurate statement.
Well, I think as any coach would go, like with what's happened in practice, I don't think we can beat anybody as of yesterday, but we're learning quite a bit about ourselves and kind of what we're good at and what we need to keep getting better at. And yeah, I think we have a high ceiling, but there's a lot of work to be done between now and the end of the year. So we've got a decent schedule. I feel like we played a lot of quality opponents, which hopefully is preparing us for what we're ideally going to set our sights on at the end of this year.
I mentioned the offensive numbers. You've mentioned practice a couple of times. Early season, is it more focus on the defense, or what exactly are you and the girls working on in the first month and a half of the season?
Sure, definitely a defensive focus, because really everything kind of predicates off of how good our pressure is and our ability to turn teams over. And I think that just feeds into what we want to do in transition. And really the refining of our offense doesn't come until probably February. And I hope it refines a little bit, because sometimes it's hard to watch when we're in the half court. So we've just, it's early in the season. We've been fortunate enough to get some wins. So we're just continuing to try to build on that.
5 seniors, according to the roster that was given to me, 5 seniors on the team this year, including your daughter, Macy. Tell us about senior leadership on this particular team.
Yeah, I think in years past as well, I think the better we can be really does kind of lie on the shoulders of our seniors. And I feel like we have a good, not only a good group of players, but really good leadership, character kids. So practice from an energy level has been great. I feel like they lead us certainly when it comes game time, and when it gets a little bit tense, you can kind of rely on that experience level that they have. I mean, a couple of those kids, Macy and Shea Bar, have, they've played at the state tournament multiple times. So they do have that experience, and we kind of leverage that as best we can.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Such an advantage with that kind of experience. How have those girls been able to share that experience with the underclassmen on this year's team?
I think they really share it by example as much as they do by word. I feel like, and this is what you need from your upperclassmen, in my opinion. Their effort level in practice, their understanding of what we're trying to accomplish, and they're good communicators. And I feel like they're encouraging kids, and they really kind of push those younger group that are super talented. They just don't maybe have the experience level that they have. So that's been really, really important. And I've been proud of kind of how they've stepped up. And really that's in my opinion, a cultural thing, when they had that very same thing going on when they were freshmen and sophomores, and had kids in front of them that were helping them along, kind of figure things out. So it's good. When you have coaches like that on the floor, it makes my job a heck of a lot easier. So it's great.
Yeah, they only give you so many timeouts in the game. Unlike practice, you can't stop it and go on the floor and rearrange. Right? You need those type of leaders out there. We've mentioned the seniors, mentioned a couple of names. Who maybe is another name that, as the season progresses, people that come out and watch your girls play, that they should maybe keep a special eye on as the season goes on?
Yeah, I think that, there's several, but the first couple that come to mind, we've got Maddie Murphy, who played for us last year. She's a junior, very, very talented kid, and worked really, really hard in the off season, played a lot of AAU, did a lot of her own personal training. She's shooting the ball really well from three for us, and gives us a scorer that really they've got to pay a lot of attention to her. And I feel like we've got complements around her that can get downhill and attack the rim. So either they're going to play her up and not allow her to get open looks, or they got to stop the penetration, which gives her opportunities. And then the second kid really that comes to mind, Samantha Davis, sister of Johnny and Jordan Davis, who played for the Badgers. And she's incredibly athletic, and just talk about a kid who has a really, really high ceiling. I mean, she's hitting shots in games and practices that, we haven't seen in quite a while. So I feel like she's going to be a really fun kid to watch develop. And she's in a perfect situation. She's a freshman who gets a lot of time, and she's got seniors around her that can kind of help her learn and grow as she goes through this season. So I'm expecting her to continue to get better and better as we move along. And then there's a host of other kids that are great complementary players to that. So Barcha Nitzlova is a foreign exchange student. This is her second year. She's a college level player. She's done a really, really nice job for us. Alexa Newmeister, 4.0 student, knows everything that we're trying to do on the floor. So you get kids like that, around some others, and it's a really good mix.
As we get ready to turn the calendar to 2023 conference season, makes up most of the schedule. Mississippi Valley Conference. Help us handicap your conference and where you fit in it.
Yeah, I mean, we should certainly be a front runner in that, I would hope. You got La Crosse Logan and La Crosse Central are two, not only are they crosstown rivals of ours, but they're a really talented group, and they play a pretty tough schedule in the outside of conference. So I feel like those will give us a good run. And Onalaska's always been a team that, I don't want to say struggled with. We've been fortunate enough to beat them, but we've had some really, really good games in the past. I think what helps us the most is that we get really, really, I mean, they give us their best shot with everything they have. Nobody knows you better than your conference team. So I think that's really important. And we're coming up on it. We play Prairie du Chien on Thursday. I was expecting them to be down, and they're not. Really well disciplined, really well coached. Sometimes you go to games and you're like, boy, I wish we could do this, that, or the other thing. So they're one of those teams. So we have them coming up on Thursday, and then we play Lakeland and Lake Mills just after Christmas. So we're going to get tested a lot in the next 3 games. So hoping that we can be ready for that.
Coach, as we wrap up here, I think it's important to tell people that you got to get to the gym and you got to support your local high school student athletes. It wasn't that long ago we were telling people to stay out of the gym. So I'll just kind of leave you with that and advertise to the folks around your community that it's important to come and support these girls in person and come and cheer them on.
Yeah, thank you for the forum to do that. And I feel like what we've tried to do, because, having 2 daughters of my own, I went through those painful times of watching girls basketball when it was relatively slow paced and not a lot of scoring. And I feel like we've done our part in trying, at least locally, to speed the games up, to put a lot more pressure on it, to score the ball a lot more. And I feel like if we can get people in the gym and see kind of how these kids have developed, they're shooting floaters, step backs, they're getting to the rim and tough Euro finishes. Like, the game's evolved a great deal, in my opinion, in the last 10 years on the girls' side of it. But it's the stigma around it. And we've went and scouted some games that are like, oh my gosh, this sets the game back 10 years. I hope that's not what we're doing out there. I hope that we're putting out a decent product, and our kids, their energy level and their effort to compete, it's as good as anything you'll find. So I'm hoping that will garner some people wanting to go take a gander at, kind of what's going on with girls basketball locally.
Aquinas Blue Gold's girls basketball coach, Dave Donarski, best of luck this season.
Appreciate that. Thanks again for having me.
Visiting with Aquinas Blue Gold. All right, there you go. Big thanks to Coach Donarski for checking in, Aquinas Blue Gold's head coach. He talked about a couple things there at the end, and interesting about speeding the game up, not setting the game back 10 years. There are things we still do here in Wisconsin high school basketball that set the game back 10, 20, 30 years, and it's not having a shot clock. So we're going to talk about the shot clock coming up as the Zaleski Sports Show continues right after this.
when the last thing you need to happen does. One of our 16 mobile service trucks from Sherrill Tire and Service Center can keep you rolling and growing. Sherrill Tire and Service Center, your locally owned farm tire specialist.
Sherrill Tire and Service, keep growing and rolling with us.
Find your location at SherrillTire.com.
Grassland Dairy Products is your match for an exciting new career today. Go to grassland.com to see the opportunities waiting for you. Browse through careers like CDL truck driver, shipping and receiving, line tech, quality assurance, forklift, maintenance tech, inventory associates, and more. Great compensation, weekly pay, and zero premium, company paid health, dental, and life. Apply now at grassland.com or in person at Grassland Dairy Products, Fairground Avenue, just south of Greenwood. All right, welcome back to the Zaleski Sports Show. My name is Jason Zaleski, your humble host here in downtown Stevens Point. We are live here on Main Street in Stevens Point. Got a couple folks waiting on the bus. Lots of cars in downtown Stevens Point. We had thought about moving this mothership to a couple of communities around central Wisconsin. Landed here because the downtown's still very vibrant here in Stevens Point. People walking all over the place. As I take a look, I apologize you can't see it, but this car here, this man, he's in bad shape because there's not a parking spot to be found anywhere. And that just goes to show what a great job the community of Stevens Point has done to keep the downtown vibrant. And a great job they did in helping us relocate here to Stevens Point as well. So big thanks to Stevens Point for being a very hospitable host for Zaleski Sports. Okay, shot clock. We're going to talk about this. I've talked about this a couple times during basketball games. Sometimes not a lot of time to really unpack the whole thing. This will be the last thing we talk about today, and then we're going to wrap it up. I've got places to be. 10 games live. You can see the live schedule at zaleskisports.com. Click weekly schedule. Coach Donarski, and a big thanks to Coach for coming on with us. I mean, just a legendary coach in the state of Wisconsin. He's got his Aquinas Blue Golds rated #1 in the state right now. Probably, I would say, big favorites to be at the Resch Center in Green Bay come March. But until then, one of the things he talked about was setting the game back 10 years. One of the things that, so people, let me frame it like this. A lot of people complain about the lack of talent at college basketball programs in our state. So Wisconsin, Marquette, Green Bay, and then they'll follow up the complaint with low talent teams with the other comment, all these guys come from out of state. Where are our players? Well, we teach a lot of our basketball players to not shoot the basketball. Can you imagine that? Now that comes off a little strong, but you know I went through the boys' scores earlier. Let's just rip through them here again. These are boys' basketball scores from last night. I can talk. The girls will be a little bit less. It's a different game. They just sometimes they score a little less. Boys' basketball scores from around the state last night: 28 points, 43 points, 24 points, 20 points. 9 points. Girls from last night, 24 points, 19, 22, 21. And I'm only picking 15 games that were played within 80 miles of here. Forget, the rest of the state. And the reason is we are limiting ourselves to modern basketball without having a shot clock. A shot clock brings, not only does it bring basketball into modern status, it brings up scoring, it brings up the skill level, it brings up the intensity, the excitement, the energy, the enthusiasm, all of it. It's a lot of what Coach Donarski was talking about, and he's done it on his own by averaging over 70 points per game. He wouldn't need to have a shot clock. Shot clock wouldn't matter in his scoring output. But those scores I just listed, gang, that is a complete product of not teaching 2000. We're about to be in 2023 on the calendar, and in this state, we're not teaching. Maybe we are teaching it, but we're certainly not expecting, because those scores have been that way since 1950, right? It's going to be 2023, and we still have final scores in the 20s and 30s in high school basketball, both boys and girls in the state of Wisconsin. The shot clock fixes all of it. So that's how we get to modern basketball. I've talked to people in person about this. And one of the reasons I bring this up, by the way, is athletic directors have been recently sent an email, and the drumbeat is soft, but it's begun again to hopefully bring this to a vote. The cowards, we had the votes in 2019, and then all the cowards who were going to vote yes for it backed out and voted no on voting day. I don't understand why. But the other thing that the shot clock does is it prevents what I see at almost every basketball game I go to. I saw it on Friday night, the very last high school basketball game I was at on Friday night. I saw the same thing. We've got a 10-point lead. We've got 5 minutes left in the game. We're going to drain 2 minutes off of the clock, and we're passing the ball around the perimeter. Folks, that's not basketball. If you want to learn how to pass the ball, we can do that right here in this studio, right? There's no basketball hoop in this studio. We can do that anywhere. We can do it on the street. We can do it in the hallway. You can do it in your bedroom, in your garage. We don't need special training to pass a basketball. Yet in this state, because the rules are what they are, again, I don't blame the coaches. What I will say is Coach Donarski and others have decided, the hell with it. We're going to go score a bunch of points, and our kids are going to have fun, and we're going to be energetic and enthusiastic. Others are playing within the rules, and that's understandable too, but I saw it again on Friday night. We're passing the ball around the arc. We're going to shave. We're going to take 5 minutes down to 3. But that's not basketball. That's not the sport we're out there to watch. People are paying money to go into the gym. They're buying the nachos and the hot dogs and the popcorn and the Gatorade and whatever, and that's what they're given. So we can do better than that. So first, my first thing is, hopefully this gets to the right people. We thought we had the right people 3 years ago. Gang, we were this close to getting it. The other comment I get in person with the shot clock is, well, we can't afford that, or there's not enough people to do that. Okay, California, Maryland, Massachusetts, New York, Rhode Island, Washington. These are high school basketball states that have the shot clock, and they've had it for the last year. They run a 35-second shot clock. So somehow they've been able to figure it out. They have rural areas. They have small schools. They have questions about not being able to find volunteers, or I got to purchase a shot clock and put it in the corner of the gym over here and put it in the other corner over there. But they were able to solve it. Do you know why? They want to play modern basketball. Okay, Zaleski, those are states with big cities, and okay, yes, they also have rural areas. What if I told you this? North Dakota and South Dakota, high school boys and girls basketball have a shot clock in those states. Do you think that in Wisconsin we have bigger cities than they do in North and South Dakota? Do you think in Wisconsin we have more population in North and South Dakota? Do you think in Wisconsin we have less occurrence of rural schools than North and South Dakota? Do you think our average school enrollment is less than North and South Dakota? No. So how were they able to do it in North and South Dakota? How were they able to move past us into modern day, present day basketball in North and South Dakota? I know what a lot of you think about rural North and South Dakota. Some of you don't think of it at all. Probably didn't even know those states existed. I'm probably telling you something new right now, right? A lot of you go there, it's hunting land or it's fishing land because it's great to hunt and fish where there's no people. Okay, but there are cities, and there are plenty of them. And they have school enrollments the same size and smaller than ours, and they were able to institute a shot clock. They were able to afford it. They were able to find people to run it because they want to play modern basketball. And it's about time we did it here in this state. It's about time. So they all run 35-second shot clocks. And I'll go through that list again. California, Maryland, Massachusetts, New York, North Dakota, South Dakota, Washington, and Rhode Island. And there's more to come. And if we have another vote come up, if we're even so fortunate to have a chance to vote on this again, and we pass by it, the whole world of basketball is going to pass by us here in Wisconsin. Because again, the same people who complain that we don't have enough people, we can't afford it, how are we ever going to institute it, even though all these other states did, are the same people who complain, well, why can't our universities recruit high-quality basketball players from this state? Well, because we're not teaching them to score the basketball. That's why. And the ones that do score the basketball, by and large, they leave this state to go play basketball somewhere else. Whether they left in high school or they leave it in college. And if that's what you want to keep happening, you just go right ahead. You just, because that's the choice. That's what we're up against. But again, gang, I just read through. We're going to end the show with this. I like to end on a positive note. I hope this is positive because we can all affect the voters. Soon I'm going to put the list up on who the voters are and who you should be contacting for that information. But again, from last night, these are scores from last night, not from 1958, from last night. 28, 43, 39, 20, 35. That's all boys basketball. Girls basketball, 24, 19, 22, 32, 36. And I missed the other boys at 9. We had 9. We can do better than that. And we need to be doing better than that. All right. Okay, so we're going to end on something positive as we wrap up today's Zaleski Sports Show. I'm looking right now at ZaleskiSports.com. I clicked weekly schedule and I found Pacelli at Wapaka Hockey, Columbus Catholic at Greenwood, Crandon at Stratford, Wausau East at Marshfield, Iola Scandinavia at Pacelli, Marquesana at Amherst. All girls basketball games tonight. Boys basketball, Marathon at Newman, DC Everest at Spash, Auburndale at Assumption, and Pacelli at Shiocton. 10 games live for you tonight. Go to the gym. If you're nearby, get to the gym. If you can't, you want to snuggle up because it's cold outside, and you want to snuggle up and watch games like these that you see here from last night or in weeks past, that's all available to you at ZaleskiSports.com. Gang, it's been fun talking to you today. Hit us up with the comments, and I'll be back tomorrow right here on Main Street in Stevens Point at 2 p.m. For the Wednesday Zaleski Sports Show. And you can see me and hear me live tonight in Wausau. It's Marathon at Newman on Zaleski Sports. Have a great day, everybody.